Hello, everyone, and welcome to our 50th episode. Oh my goodness, we have made 50 episodes since the start of the year, and
That's crazy.
We couldn't have thought of a better person to bring back on again, our resident wellness sister, Danai Theo. Thanks for coming on, hun.
It's my pleasure. I've been looking forward to this evening's episode and the topics we're going to talk about. As you know, I'm 4 weeks out from my first ever Olympia, hopefully one of many to come. Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to, getting into the prep and the battles, the challenges and things that I've done this time with my prep that I've figured have helped me mentally, emotionally, physically to step things up a little bit more. Because you can always step things up a little bit more.
Oh, look, we've been watching you right from the start, really, honestly, from even me, from when you were with, back in the ICN days and you just came over to Ifbb and seeing you get I was there when you got your pro card, and so to see that and to see where you are now, and I'm like, I got goosebumps thinking about it, like, no matter what has come your way, and we're going to talk about those pitfalls as well, but it's like, well, if you want to be a successful athlete in this sport, what are the assets? What are the key attributes? What's the mentality? What are you prepared to face and the sacrifices that you are prepared to go through? And what better way or what better time to have that discussion than now? Because you're 3.5 weeks out, like you're right in the guts of it now. Like this is it. It doesn't get any closer and more real than this. So like there is no filter here today, people.
100%. And I feel like this is always the toughest part because you're still like when you're dieting hard, 4 weeks still feel like a while away, but at the same time, not long. It's not long. It's very close. It's coming up very quickly, but every day is getting long now. It feels long. Yeah, like this time, things that I've found, and I haven't intentionally done those things, but I feel like because my head has been a lot more focused, obviously, going to the Olympia, to me, it's a big deal, so I've found that naturally I've pushed people and things that interrupt my peace away. And I haven't done that intentionally. I just don't tolerate things the way I would before, and I find that each prep that I do, I don't it's not necessarily because it's the Olympia. I think it's every prep that I do because I take it more and more seriously, and I want to keep getting better and better. So to keep improving, you just need to push harder. That's the only way. So I find that I tolerate things, like I put more boundaries with people, and I don't tolerate BS that I would before.
Can we talk about why you do that, and if you don't do that, how it impacts you?
100%, yeah. Like why I do that, because in my opinion, people who truly care about me and want to see me succeed will not put me in a position that will have me feeling a certain way, or stress me or upset me. They will be understanding, even if I decide to be quiet or push them away, they'll be understanding, and I've come out even on my stories publicly a few times to explain that I'm not quiet with anyone personally or for any reason. I'm quiet because I'm trying to focus, and people who genuinely care have, if anything, they've actually responded to me saying you don't have to explain yourself. Whereas there's other people who come up to me and message me and be like, are you upset with me? Have I done anything wrong? Like this, and keep calling me or messaging me. And I'm like, Roy, like, I'm just trying, there's nothing personal. I'm just trying to focus. I'm just trying to preserve my energy, if anything, you know.
Mm.
But yeah, in the past, I wouldn't do that. In the past, I would, um, if I felt like someone was upset that I was, upset with me, or that I upset someone, I would get really, it would affect me. Now I don't let things affect me. I don't let anything that will impact my day and my prep um, get to me. So I don't know if that's a good thing. I feel like I kind of like switch off emotionally a little bit. And that's a way for me to deal with things, and deal with my prep when it gets tough.
It's a
Um,
highly emotional journey when you're in it, isn't it? There's a lot of breakthroughs or breakdowns that are happening personally. Um,
yeah,
and we've talked about this in the past, where every level has a devil, and the commitment that is needed, to get your pro card, to competing in pro shows, to making
yeah,
it to the Olympia, and you're now going that whole way. Would it be fair to say that it requires a different level of commitment?
totally,
Yeah.
totally. I could not, honestly, each prep that I do, and the more that I'm, like I said, the more advanced you get, I feel like right now I could not maintain a full-time job and do this at the level I am doing it. Yeah, I could probably do it. Would I look the way I would I look my best? Probably not, because I wouldn't be able to give it 100%.
Mm.
Like I said to you guys before we jumped on, I've even cut down on work, by, I'd say, by 50%,
Yeah.
since I got back from the States, and I've been
Yeah.
prepping for the Olympia. And that's because I need to make sure I'm getting enough rest, and I need to make sure I, put everything into my training and into my, trip. I'm busy doing prep stuff. It takes so much of my day, like traveling to get treatments done, traveling to get, even I'm even trying to get tanned, like, it's because last time I'm naturally really pale. And
Rose, Rose is the same. Her check-in photos.
Up. My ears have just pricked up. I'm listening to this.
yeah, because you know what I noticed? I'm extra pale, like extremely pale, like a ghost. So
Yeah.
when I was on stage last time, you sweat, and especially after prejudging is done, yeah, you get your tan fixed, but once your tan is messed up, it just looks, it
Patchy.
doesn't look nice,
Yeah.
they will go over it and it will just look patchy.
Mm.
So I'm looking, seeing videos and photos from my last show. I was like, oh, my tan was not great because I was sweating, and it was especially around my chest and on my stomach, and where you sit down on your glutes. I'm like, I don't want that at the Olympia. I want my tan to be perfect.
Well,
So
you just
I
got to come
thought,
to
if I have a better,
You just got to come to Queensland. It's not shine every single day. I mean, you can just
I
set up
would
at
love that.
night.
Well, I've been going to a friend's house he's got a solarium, and I've been doing that just to get a bit of a better base.
Mm.
So I don't need like 3 layers or 4 layers.
Oh,
Um
imagine.
yeah, so even little things like that will make a difference in my head. I want everything to be perfect.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a full-time job doing that at a very high level, or as high as you can do
Yeah.
it. Um,
Yeah, athlete. And I think that's probably a misconception amongst a lot of people that don't
yeah,
know a lot about the sport. They don't actually understand that you are an athlete. It's just like a competitive swimmer, or an athlete on the field.
exactly.
All the level of training, the dedication to your recovery, the treatments and things that you talked about. And as you said, like, because it has a beauty element, there's also all the beauty stuff you have to stay on
Oh
top
yeah,
of, right? Like, making sure that you've
laser
got
hair removal, Botox, hair, like all these things, nails, all these things take time.
these things
Yeah,
day, you want to make sure that your skin's good. So you're making sure that you're doing everything on your skin in the lead up to the show as well.
Yeah.
It just the level of dedication is it's crazy.
Yeah, and especially if you live on your own and you still have to handle everything at home by yourself, like from your cooking, your washing, your laundry, your cleaning, your grocery shopping. All these things add up, there's not much time. There's only 24 hours in a day. There's posing practice, it's a lot. It's a lot. And people don't realize it's not just your training, it's so much more that you need to do outside of the gym. And yeah, especially the more you progress and you try to find little ways to make things even better, there's always ways to make things to improve. It's just going to take even more of your time, and yeah.
Because you've
But the main thing has been, for me, the main thing has been mindset wise and just keeping my peace. It's been a whole game changer to me, like waking up and not having anxiety about anything. Even if anything comes up that would normally cause me anxiety, I'm like, okay, whatever, I'm just gonna deal with it. It's fine.
How did you get to that point, Danai? Like, how did you get to the point where you go, like, for some people listening to this right now, they're going, oh, that's easier said than done, but it's like, is there a process that got you to that point that allowed you
of
to
course. And totally. I spoke to you about it last episode, that I do sessions with Madison, that really helped me. She helped me understand myself, if that makes sense, and understand how anxiety works and what signs of anxiety I experience. So when they come, I am able to recognize them and acknowledge them and say to myself, okay, this is just your anxiety talking, just shut up, it's all good. And once she made me understand that by getting anxious over things, you're not fixing the actual thing that is causing you anxiety in the first place. If anything, you're making it harder to deal with. That's when I started being, okay, that makes sense, and she made me understand that, anxiety is pretty much a delusion and it's in your head. It's not something real.
The fabrication of imagination.
Yeah, it's in your imagination. Exactly. So once I got a deep understanding of that, I haven't felt anxiety ever since, about anything. Even things that would normally cause me anxiety, I'm like, okay, like for example, the traveling would normally cause me a lot of anxiety. Now I'm like, okay, when the time comes, I'll deal with it. when I'm one day before I have to fly out, I'll deal with it.
So you're really like in the moment more as well. So
I'm really in the moment, and I'm just and I'm focusing more on what needs to be done, setting like little short-term goals each day, focusing on each day as it comes, and I'm trying not to plan too far ahead, because that's what usually overwhelms me. So one day at a time, deal with things as they come, and it's been great. And that way, I'm actually taking it all in as well, my prep, and I'm able to connect with myself more. So I really enjoy that part, and it's been very very rewarding to get to that. When I didn't used to be like that, I used to be a very anxious person. Like I would stress about little things, OCD, really OCD.
There's breakthroughs in every single show that you do, or every single prep leading into every show that you do. And when
you grow, it makes you grow as a person.
Absolutely. And you get this, when you've hit, like I'm and Rose, you had one as well, and then the next day, like you dropped like 1.5 kilos, right? It's kind of this pinnacle where you feel like your weight's stabilizing, it's not going anywhere, it's sitting there, it's not going anywhere. You feel some kind of resistance, and there's this voice inside your head. You're like right at the pinnacle of it, and you feel like the cheese is going to fall off the cracker. It probably does. And, and then all of a sudden, there is something that clicks in that pinnacle, and all of a sudden it's like you have this compounded interest of all this work that you've just done, where you've seen no results for, all come together in one moment, almost overnight, really.
Yeah.
This time round for you, what was it?
Honestly, I haven't had that this time round because I don't know, I've just been, I think another reason is because it's a new league for me going into the Olympia. I'm not going with a mindset, oh, I want to win, you know, so I'm not putting that pressure on myself. Obviously I want to do as best as I can. But it's not like the pro shows that I want to win the pro show because I want to qualify for the Olympia. Now I'm just going into it, enjoying the process, and I feel that's already taken a big stress out of my, you know, head and my soul. But I think it's all stress related, honestly. And if you see sometimes we worry too much about the weight on the scales, and we keep jumping on the scales, the moment you stop weighing yourself, the weight falls off.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's, you know what I mean? It's because of the stress you put on yourself.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. So for me, that's what I know my body very well at the same time, so I know when I need to back off a little bit, even with my training, you know, like I know when I need to take a step back with it, or to have a couple of days off, or, you know, when my body needs more food. I think you learn those things when, you know, the more each prep you do, you learn your body better and better. And it's really good that I can work with Matt like that. Like he will always listen to how I'm feeling, and that's how we make decisions going forward. We don't have a plan.
I love that.
There's no plan. Like I don't know when my next refeed will be. I don't know. You know what I mean? We just go day by day, how I'm feeling, how I'm looking. And, you know, it's also a very important thing to know when, because sometimes, for example, I tell Matt, I don't really feel, I don't want to train today. And I remember last week he said, maybe have a rest day. And I said to him, no, because I don't want to train because I'm being lazy. It's not, you know, I know when I'm being lazy. Obviously when you're on prep, you're always tired. But you know when you're tired to the point that you need a rest, or you're just tired / lazy, and you just would love to stay in bed, you know. So I've come to a place that I know when I'm just slacking, and I know when I'm just being lazy. But, you know, and at the same time, I know when my body is so broken that a day off would benefit me. Yeah.
That's it sort of sounds as though the experience that you've had now, it's really starting to pay off during this prep. All of those being on stage, and you know, like us, you've had those shows where things didn't go well or didn't go as planned, but now all of those good and bad experiences are just, you know, combining.
Totally. This is how you learn. You know, this is every prep. The things that you do wrong are the things that teach you what not to do wrong next time, you know, and this is how eventually you get better, and you nail. I don't want to say nail it, because I don't feel like we can ever nail any prep. There's always things you can do better, and you learn, you know, during the process that, oh, next time I'll do this instead. But this is how you get to that conclusion, you know, what not to do, what doesn't work for you, what works better.
So along the journey, you've learned from your mistakes, and there's a lot of pitfalls, right? Let's say, what have been, or what would you say in your experience or what you've seen necessarily in others, have been pitfalls on the road to success in prep?
As in with the approach that we take with prep, or
Yeah, so in terms of like, you know, let's say it's food and training, or, you know, one's mindset or their why, like just if we were to encompass it all together, like, yeah.
I feel like obviously everyone's different, but personally for me, and I think a lot of females, especially females, could relate, and especially females that train in my category, I found that for me, what doesn't work at all is high and intense cardio. It just doesn't work for me. I feel because my training is so intense and it's lower body every day, you know, the moment I add cardio in, my cortisol levels, my nervous system just go, you know, they just go bananas, and I start regressing. I don't recover. I can't sleep. I'm always, you know, like stimulated. Like I'm not. My weight starts going up, and I usually start looking worse and worse, and that's where, you know, eventually start losing muscle because you can't train properly because you're not recovering properly. So what I find works for me, um, I just suffer through dieting instead. You know, when I say suffering, I mean I'll go below 1,000 calories. I'm not afraid to push the food that low, but at the same time, I won't have to any cardio to do. I do steps and I keep them at minimum. So I don't go over 10,000 steps. Sometimes I won't even go over 8,000. If I'm feeling really fried from training, I'm just gonna rest, you know.
Much sense given how I mean, look, the girls category, the leg development, the glute development, it's next level. We all know how it is, and to develop that, it's hours and hours in that gym, and you know, as you said, like leg days are most days, and that itself is very draining on the central nervous system. So
exactly,
completely makes sense as to why cardio on top of such, you know.
I don't think it's like that for everyone, because I know girls that do wellness, compete in wellness, and they look amazing. They have a lot of muscle and they get very lean, but they still do a lot of cardio. I think it's an individual thing, and I think it comes from like genetically as well, and it comes from your background. Now, I personally, I don't know if it's to do with the fact that when I was younger, I used to do a ton of cardio, and I went through an eating disorder as well, and so maybe it has to do with that. You know, the moment, you know, it comes to a point that my body, yes, yeah. So I don't know. I figured out that from previous preps, the moment it came to add cardio in, my progress started. I started regressing. My training started getting really bad, and I'd be holding a lot of fluid. You know, my weight would jump right up. And the moment we decide to cut the cardio out to see what happens, my weight would start falling off again, and things would start moving again. So this is what works for me, and this is what we do. We don't even consider cardio anymore in my preps.
Well, as you said, every athlete is different, and we all did a prep the same, then oh my goodness, I'd love to
exactly
people that did that, because it would never look the same. You're going to have people looking very, very different.
Yeah, and you can have the same individual, but every prep will be different. You know, it won't be the same as your last prep.
And that comes down to calories as well, doesn't it, Danai? Like, you know, you
so
get
many things. Yeah.
You know,
how long your off season has been.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, definitely. How high your body fat is. So many things, for sure.
Yeah, that's the one thing I really dislike seeing is, you know, sort of people criticizing other approaches, or saying, oh, well, I do it this way, or whatever, and sort of pointedly pointing someone out that does it different to them. And it's like, yeah, but you're two completely different athletes, you know, you're two completely different people. You don't know what that that person's mindset's like. You do not know what their coach and them have discussed together. I mean, some people are really non-compliant with their diet. So, you know, their coach factored that in and said, and puts them on a certain amount of calories, knowing that they're going to blow it out. Like, you know what I mean? Just,
yeah, for sure. Yeah, totally. I never ever criticize anyone's approach, because I know that, you know, everyone's body is so different. I know even from clients of mine or from friends of mine, you know, like I said to you last time, I know bikini girls that are dieting on double or triple the amount of the food that I eat, and they get stage lean. It's so individual, and there's so many factors, you know, that could affect that, you know, and every prep is different. Last prep, I dieted a lot harder than this prep, from like 12 weeks out. This prep, I've only had to push that hard the last, you know, 4 weeks. So it's so different, you know. It's not, there's no right or wrong. It's what works for you, what doesn't work for you. And that's why it's a good thing to have a coach that listens to you, and also be with that coach for quite some time, you know, so they figure out your body and what works for you.
That's another point as well. That's a really good point. A coach that works out your body. And, you know, don't be a serial like coach hopper as well, because I see this a lot as well. Just because you didn't win in your first show, or just because you didn't, you know, do well or get what you wanted, it doesn't mean that that coach is wrong, right? Maybe it was your first show, right? And like the chances of you winning a pro card in your first ever show is like slim to none, okay? And that's a fact, all right? It's possible, yes, but it's a very small possibility. And bodybuilding is an evolution. Like your body is evolving, and you're not necessarily going to get it right the first or second or third or fourth or 10th time round. But if you keep changing coaches, you know, and you're not communicating with your coach, then what's going to end up happening is every new coach that you go to, they're going to have to learn your body all over again and again and again and again.
For sure.
Yeah. And then you're going to have all these different methods and processes. Oh, but this coach said that, and that coach said that, and this person, and there's going to be this like internal chaos. So keep it really simple. Make sure that you stick with your coach. I mean, sometimes you have to transition. Okay. And there's case scenarios. But that shouldn't be based on placings.
Yes.
And another thing that a lot of people do, and that's a recipe for disaster, is, you know, you have your coach's approach and advice, and then they go around asking other people their opinions, and they take advice from several people, which I'm not saying this person's advice is wrong, but if it's completely different approach to what your coach has you doing, you cannot mix and match. You know, you either follow one person's approach or you follow someone else's approach. You can't follow half your coach's approach, this person's advice, that person's advice, you know, and just hope that it will all work out in the end. Because that's just
it's so
the worst thing you can do.
Yeah, and it's so common with, especially
it's so common.
So with new,
it's so common.
Yeah, they just,
and a lot of the time, people want to come and tell you their opinion even without you asking. I've got people like coming up to me and say, "Oh, why don't you do this? Why don't you try that?" Like, because I do what I'm told. Simple. If my coach tells me to do that, I'll do it. You know, I'm not going to add things in just because you, who are a great coach, by the way, suggested it.
Yeah, this is where you're
simple as that. I do as I'm told.
Play that, and that's where, you know, when you were talking about boundaries before and how important that they are, that's exactly where they come so important, you know, because you are going to have people who see, you know, that, you know, you are successful, you're rising, and they're going to want to give advice and be a part of that success and things. or maybe even, you know, have you as their athlete. So, you know, you have to have good boundaries, you know, to determine
Yeah,
like, I've got
of
to
course. Yeah. And
trust them.
I used to be the worst when it came to boundaries, but now, like, I'll tell you what, even with people when I train at the gym, like it's the only prep that I've done that I've had to tell people, I'm sorry, I can't talk now. I'm trying to focus. I'm trying to train. Whereas before I would be like, oh, I feel bad to tell them this, you know. But now I'm like, no, I'm training. Don't talk to me right now. You can talk to me after, you know. So unless it's something that needs to be is urgent, don't interrupt me. I'm trying to focus. I'm trying to get through my day, my training. So, and there's nothing wrong with that, you know. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
You
that's
just have to do it a couple of times, and then they won't come up to you again.
So good. That's right. And you know what? People respect boundaries. That's what people don't understand, is that they think that they're going to offend. I used to be very much like that too. But you know what? You get better respect when you have boundaries. And it does. You seem to attract, I guess, you attract the people who respect boundaries too. So you attract a better type of person into your life.
high quality people. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
100%.
And on that
And
note, that's another key to success, isn't it? You know, attracting high quality, high value people in your life, being really like, I mean, obviously you've got to become that yourself. You've got to be that yourself, you know, and yeah, and like, you know, that's something that I think Rose and we've talked about many nights as well, going, you know, the higher vibe, the smaller your tribe, and being very deliberate on the characters, the personalities, the energies, and the individuals that to surround ourselves with, not because we don't like people that are otherwise, it's just because you're not moving in the direction that we want to move in, right? We're not aligned, and therefore, you know, there's a certain type of person that have certain qualities that we need to, you become the sum of the person and the people that you're hanging the most around. So that's something
100%.
Yeah, that's
and I'll tell you what, this I always personally tend to spend more time alone when I'm on prep, but I feel like this time I've taken it to a whole different level. I don't know if I'm just enjoying being in my own company during prep, because, you know, I don't feel, especially the more successful you become, I think people become more ingenuine with you, and you start seeing that more and more clearly.
Yeah.
You know, so you start seeing that people that didn't used to come approach you before, now they try to slowly you know, try and get to know you, or whatever,
get involved.
And or even people that were fine with you, you start seeing other sides of them, that kind of, you know, a bit of jealousy, a bit of envy. So I feel like the better you do in anything, not just in bodybuilding, you become more alone,
you do,
which is fine. Which is fine.
You've become wiser though too, haven't you? Like, so you're able to pick it out a lot more. Maybe they were there the whole time, but you're like,
you are the one who cuts those people out, of course, because you pick those things up. And I think, you know, there's this great book a friend of mine gave me last year, and I read it, and there was this sentence saying, success is a lonely road. And it's so true. And the better you do, and the better you want to do, you see that your circle becomes smaller and smaller and smaller, and your tolerance for things becomes lower. And I think that's another, you build more confidence within yourself and being in your own company. So you're more, you feel more at peace being on your own than you were before. You know what I mean? That you needed the validation from other people, the approval. Whereas when you when you feel like you're doing well and you're proud of yourself and you're proud of your achievements and you're in a good place, you don't need that external, constant um, support and approval and contact with other people. Only the ones that truly matter.
Well, that's it. You've developed, I guess, successful people. They're successful people for a reason. They are able to commit to something, to plan, to schedule, to stick to it, to stick to those plans, schedules, and routines, to follow through, and to actually reach an outcome which isn't just a week long or a day that you do a presentation. Like a months and months long process. So throughout that time, you're honing those skills that are making you a successful person, and through that does come self-trust, belief in yourself, self-love, self-mastery, because you learn to master your emotions and them as well. And you've also you actually then seek out information, like you explained throughout your process, like why you are a successful person, because you sought further information to develop your knowledge of anxiety and how to master
and
that.
That's another thing. I posted on my story the other day, because we get all sorts of people complaining when they're on prep and, complaining, oh, my coach has been doing too much. Like, and they blame their coaches in the end for pushing them too hard or, whatever. Like, let's talk about bodybuilding, but in general, that applies to everything, in my opinion. But bodybuilding is not a necessarily healthy sport, especially when we're on prep, right? It's not like, I don't feel 100% healthy right now. Like, I'm healthy, but I'm not. I'm tired. If I do blood tests, some things will be elevated, some things will be, out of whack. It's normal. I'm not eating enough food. I'm pushing my body to extremes. So I'm not going to blame my coach if my iron is a little bit lower, or if I have to go really hard with my diet, or if I have to do a lot of cardio. Yes, it's part of the process, and to get to the body fat that we need to get, if you actually want to get stage lean, we need to push to levels that are not optimal for our health. Like, I lose my period, that's not optimal for my health. My body is telling me you're not in a position to grow another human, you're not eating enough, right? So I know myself, what I'm doing is not, it's temporary, it's not 100% healthy. I'm aware of that. I'm not gonna blame Matt for cutting my calories under 1,000, because I know otherwise I'm not gonna get there. Absolutely. But anyway, so another thing I wanted to say, to be successful in whatever area, whatever you're doing, main thing is to call yourself out on your own bullshit, and on your own, the things that you're slacking on, and the excuses that you have for yourself. Oh, I'm tired to go to the gym, it's fine, I'm just gonna sit at home, I'm being lazy. I call myself out on that. When I find myself being lazy, I call myself out on that. I'm not going to wait for my coach to do that for me. My coach can give me my diet, I have to follow it. If I cheat on my diet, it's on me. It's not on anyone else. So I think that's where a lot of people fail. And then they end up trying to find a different coach, and the right coach, the perfect coach. There's no.
They're taking their old habits with them, so they're going to do the same, repeat the same process.
Exactly.
So,
unless
coach, and to find the perfect coach, ask yourself, are you the perfect client? Because if your answer is no, then don't look for a different coach.
It's almost the same as someone who has, battling depression or some mental disorder, and we tell everyone, you'll tell that person, I can only help you so much. If you don't want to help yourself, I can't. It has to be them realizing, acknowledging, and accepting, and making the decision to fix themselves. And improve, or any, like someone who's got any type of addiction, it has to be them that
It's
will
both,
say, okay,
yeah.
Sorry.
It's both a
yeah,
physical and emotional commitment. Like anyone that has ever been successful in any area of life, from, being
exactly.
a successful parent to a business person to an athlete, they have physical and emotional commitment. They know how to delegate, they know how to delete, and they know how to deal with shit. And they are always in cause. They're not in effect, or if they find themselves in effect, or, being a little bit of a victim and responding with disability from time to time, they're quick to turn it around, like you said, and call themselves
Snap out of it. Yes. Yeah.
It's like, these are your cards. You don't complain about the cards you dealt with in your prep. You go, these are my cards. I'm going to play my cards. That's the difference between someone like yourself, who's now an Olympian, someone who's a pro, and someone who's an amateur wanting to turn pro, and someone that's first starting out. There's those different levels. Like, play your cards. Doesn't matter what they are. It doesn't matter what the excuse. Your cards are your excuses, or your limitations, or your challenges, if whatever you want to call them. Play them. And play it to the best of your ability without excuse.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Very well said. Yeah, totally. Yeah. And it's very common. I think once you realize that, you'll never ever, stay in the same position anymore. Once you realize how to, not be a victim, or not use your own excuses, just call yourself out, don't stop sitting there playing victim and thinking, oh, but I'm dealing with this or I'm dealing with that. Find a solution to that, instead of sitting there thinking about it and crying about it and whinging about it.
And
how do we move forward?
And that comes down to, at the end of the day as well, is your why strong enough? Is your purpose strong enough?
What's your purpose?
Do
you really want it?
Yeah.
For me, every time I've had to deal with something that's been an obstacle, or would have made someone else say, oh, whatever, I give up. That's when my mind goes, I'm not letting this thing stop me. I'm finding a way to, move past that. I'm not going to sit here crying about whatever is going on right now. I need to find a way to fix it and move forward. And that's, this is my approach to everything now. Not even about, only about prep, in general, whatever
relationships, in the way that you pursue your career, not, like your athlete career, but like just in your business career as well. And to reach this level, like to be an Olympian, it's not by default. It is definitely having a very deep seated, compelling, like earth moving purpose and why, that nothing, Hiroshima could go off, there could be World War IV again, like there could be an earthquake, like anything could happen, and like it's like, all right, cool, no worries, but I'm still doing this. I'm still going forward. People could knock you down, they could try and sabotage you, they could like name call you, they could try and like ruin your reputation. Doesn't matter what it is, right? In fact, those people are probably the ones that have experienced the most amount, and you're like, sweet, you got anything else to say? Awesome. This is my purpose. I'm just going to find another way.
Totally.
I see that in you. You've got that quality. And then, I don't even know, is there any other Australian in the Olympia this year?
I don't believe
so. I might be wrong, but I don't think there is. I think you're the only 26 million people in this country, Danai, and you are the only person that is actually going to be at the top of the mountain in 3.5 weeks' time at the Olympia. Like, mind-blowing.
I still haven't, haven't realized yet. I'm just doing a prep,
you're just doing a prep. Yeah, prepping. Just prepping. No big deal.
Yeah, I mean, I know I'm going there, but it can't sink in, you know what I mean? It just can't. I think until I'm there, it just won't. I don't think it will.
For me, I'm still like, us being mates and everything, like, I still find it hard to believe. I'm like, that's our girl.
Yeah, it's crazy.
She's going up on.
Oh my God, I know her. Oh my God. Fangirl.
It's crazy, honestly. I wake up sometimes I wake up in the morning and when I think about it, I'm like, like, take my bike, go to the gym. Like I can't believe I'm going to Olympia, So I'm trying. This is another thing that has really helped me during this prep. Just trying to be grateful instead of, focusing on how tired I am, how hungry I am, how exhausted. I'm trying to tell myself, you know what, this has been my goal, and I've worked my ass off for the past, since I got my program, been working. That was the goal since then, and I've been working even during lockdown, going through personal stuff in the meantime.
Yeah.
And doing my first pro run last year, not qualifying, then again trying again, changing coaches. And now if I sit here and complain about it, then I don't deserve to be there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's
Well,
in my head, that I don't deserve to I don't have the right to complain, because that's been my dream and goal, and I'm leaving it now. And as hard as it is, it's been what I was working for,
the
and
whole time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, happy. Oh, it's so good.
There's how many pro athletes are there in the world? There's thousands, right? 70,000, a few thousand pro athletes in the world.
There's lots.
That's still less than 1% of the world's population. That's like 0.00001%. And then you are 1% of that. And you've definitely earned your right. And I did a post on that today. It's like, you're not given a placing, you earn your placing, and you're the only woman in this country, in wellness, in the history, right, of bodybuilding in this country, that has ever made it to the Olympia. I think there's been a few bikini girls, and I think there may have been a figure girl back in the day, Rosa Maria or someone like that. Yeah.
Rosa Maria.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And obviously we're Frances, or she's from Geelong, but outside of that, like in 26 million people, you're like, even though you're our adopted Aussie import, like it's just it blows. The statistically speaking, it's the difference between the ones that have a desire for it and the ones that really want it, and the amount of sacrifice that you have put yourself through, from living on $10 a day to cutting your business in half to funding yourself, to all these other different shows. There's only going to be a compound effect from that, and I've said it from the start, and I'm like, I know your vision of going all the way one day, that's going to happen. I know it's undeniable. You can see it in every
I hope so.
I
hope so, because you know what, it's I think about it, a lot of the time, the amount of people that, a lot of people love the idea of going to the Olympia, qualifying for the Olympia, prepping for the Olympia, but not many people are willing to, work as hard as you need to work to get there.
What does it represent for you, hon? Like, what does it represent for you, and what is it going to give you
being there? A lot, for me, especially personally, and people don't need to know that, but for me, it's rewarding in so many ways, just from the way it all started. I came here being on a tourist visa, like I said, working a cash job illegally, to slowly getting to a point where not only now I've become a resident, at the same time dealing with visa stuff, personal stuff, being here on my own without family. And I'll tell you what, my family until now, they've never supported me with my bodybuilding journey. They were very against it. They always thought, oh, you left your studies to do that, or you're wasting all your money to do something so silly, your health, blah 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 blah. But I always had that, like that vision that I know I can go somewhere with it if I really commit myself to it. And it just represents that to me more than anything, more than what I look like physically, or like a trophy, or
like empowerment, like being
yeah,
boss,
it's
being
more like
courageous.
the how much we're actually capable of achieving.
Proving
Mm.
that you need it, proving that.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah. So when I look back, if you told me 5-6 years ago, when how long? I think it's been a bit longer than that. That when I moved here, that my worries in my head back then was to sort out my visa, sort out, like work, finances, all the stuff that I'd be going to the Olympia and living, like an athlete. And like this prep especially is the first prep that I'm also very grateful, because I've had support from a couple of companies that have sponsored me and have made it a lot easier on me to, be able to take a step back from work and actually commit to it more as an athlete and not have to work like crazy hours. I'm still working, not as much though, but I wouldn't be able to do that without them, and it's very rewarding for me to even have people reach out to me and want me on their team, and wanting me to represent their company and their brand. So it's just very personally satisfying, and it just motivates me. There's nothing, I know there's nothing I'm not capable of achieving if I want to.
I was going
in
to
my
ask
head.
you, what is this journey given you? And I think you've just answered it by saying that. It's put me in a place where there is nothing that I believe that I'm not capable of achieving, because you've actually gone out there and actually done it. You've proven yourself. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
stuff.
Oh my goodness. Well,
yeah.
we know that you're going to probably have your next, last meal will be ready now. And I know, Rose, I think you've got yours because Coach over here says you do.
I'm not thinking, I love you so much, but I can't wait to get off this podcast.
Oh my goodness. My goodness.
I love you all, but I'm just like, I was like thinking, I know what I've got next. So I actually kept my mince meal for, I've got mince.
You know what? I am at the next stage of that, where you go, I've only got one meal, I'm starving, but the longer I stay, the more I can stretch it. So it's the next stage.
Yeah, that'll be next. At least probably, well, I don't know, I've been pretty hungry the last couple of days, I must admit. It's starting now.
I'm at the stage where I'm still like, oh my God, do I have to fit another meal in?
And,
stop it.
One story before we jump off, but Lisa sends me today, like, because we just meme each other constantly all day. That's what I love, that meme that says, this is what adult women friendships are, memeing each other all day. Which is so but yeah, you sent me the picture of this like fudge brownie thing that was being made. Oh my God. I'm like, why would you do that? Why? You're obviously right at the start.
You know what shocked me yesterday, and I was sending it to Matt and to other friends of mine. Maverick's peanut butter, the brand.
Yes.
It's my favorite peanut butter. I don't know if that's the one you get, but personally, peanut butter is a trigger food for me. So I don't have it in my prep. I don't have it in my house when I'm on prep, because I know I can just go over my calories so easily. So it's just not in my diet when I'm on prep. And I miss it so much. It's the first thing I want to eat, especially this brand. And yesterday I watched someone's reel. They released a new flavor, cookie dough choc chip.
No. Your little
and in my head I'm like, surely that will be very hard to find because they just released it. But I sent it to Matt anyway, and I was like, I'm gonna hunt for this. For when I finish, I'm getting it and I'm eating it. So I was looking online to make sure I find it online and order it. And Matt goes to his local Coles and he sends me a photo of it. He's like, I found it.
Oh my God, no. Oh my,
So he bought one, and I said him, buy me one in case I can't find it after my show, and keep it at your house for post show. So he's already bought me one, and then I made him do a taste test and send me photos of it, and he said it's 10 out of 10.
Oh,
man.
He said smell test first, 10 out of 10, and then he tried it, and apparently it's the same macros as normal peanut butter, so that's win-win.
Oh my goodness. So you're
Cookie dough. Oh my God, peanut butter.
amazing. I love cookie dough.
Me too.
It's my thing.
Yeah, my
Yeah.
girl. We're gonna leave you and love you. We've loved every second of this, and
I do.
we're counting down the days with you, girl. We're like 27 days to go. 27? Yes, 27 days. Can't believe you're gonna be up there. You know, we're gonna be over there pretty much at the same time, or just before when you're coming back, you know, for Rose's show. So, you know,
Yeah.
next time, well, who knows next time, but next year, definitely, we'll love to come to the Olympia. You know, who knows?
Oh,
Yeah, hopefully I qualify again next time.
I'm predicting top 5. I'm predicting top 5. That's me. I'm just going to put it out there. It's a biased friend wanting you to. Me as a biased friend wanting you to be.
Thank you. I hope so. I will. I'm doing my best. That will be. I'll be stoked with that. But yeah,
you get to fangirl all your Olympian sisters as well up there. Like, it's just gonna goosebumps. Like,
I can't wait. I'm even looking forward for the meet and greet. You know, it's gonna be a very good experience.
What an amazing lineup! It's going to be an epic lineup. Like the athletes here in the female categories are just phenomenal. Like, I'm so excited to watch. It's epic.
Yeah,
it will be. It will be.
Well, we'll leave you and love you on that note.
Thank you for having me. We'll do another one after the Olympia.
After the Olympia, for sure. Okay, us first.
Yes.
All right, awesome.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me, guys. I really enjoyed it.
Me too.
Have a good night and enjoy your meals.
Thank you.
Bye.